Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you making the time to be with us on Thursday evenings. So, as usual, before we start today's topic, just a couple of, again, reminders. These talks are available on Manhattan Center's YouTube channel. We call, this series of talks is called Wisdom in Action. So we have a playlist titled Wisdom in Action, and all the talks are available under that. So if you want to listen to this talk or any of the previous ones, please visit our YouTube channel or the Facebook page of the Manhattan Center to access these recordings. Besides these talks, Manhattan Center does offer meditation twice a day, every day, Power Boost meditation at 12 p.m. in the afternoon, and Good Night meditation at 8 o'clock in the night. Power Boost meditation is from Monday to Friday. Good Night meditation is every day, Monday to Sunday. Only thing Sunday, the timing is 7:30 p.m. So we are with you throughout the week. And then we get this extra time for at a stretch, longer discussion on Thursday evenings. You do have control of your mic. You can open if you have a question to ask whenever the speaker opens the floor for it. But we request you in the meantime to keep it mute. We encourage you to keep your videos on if possible. That kind of makes the class more interactive. So today's topic, moving up to higher grounds. It's kind of very intuitive whenever there is any physical obstacle comes, right? Whether it's human beings or other creatures, if there is any kind of fear or any chance that we can get hurt, we move up to the higher ground. In my home, I know if my children see spider, right, they just jump on the beds or they climb on the chairs. Similar kind of examples are there, for the other things also. But all obstacles are not physical, right? There are so many which are kind of situations which are not physical. How do we deal with those? Do we move up to higher ground? And what does it mean? When I was reflecting on it, my thought was that most of the time we take a downward spiral and we get more tangled into it. And when we don't get a breathing space, then we say, oh, okay, call someone and say, let's go for shopping, which adds another downward spiral to it. Or we say, let's go have a drink. We do try to pull ourselves out, but very often we are not successful. So today's speaker is Sister Sandhya Kanthan, and most of you are familiar with her. She has been a regular speaker on Manhattan Center's platform, but for the ones who are joining for first time, Sister Sandhya is in spiritual knowledge for a very, very long time, I think 20 plus years or so. And she's an IT professional. Her the main interest is to bring in the worldly knowledge with the spiritual knowledge and find a balance and a solution for our everyday problems. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Sister Sandhya, and let's explore today's topic, how we can move up to higher grounds to have a peaceful and a joyful ride, no matter what comes our way. Welcome, Sister Sandhya.
Om Shanti, thank you, Anita Ben. That was a beautiful intro to the topic. Can I suggest?
Yeah. I was thinking maybe you can move the camera a little bit more so we can see more of you.
Let's try.
If it is possible.
Let's try, I don't know. Does that work?
Wonderful. This is excellent. Thank you so much.
Om Shanti. So before we start talking and sharing about the topic today, I was wondering maybe we should start with a little reflection, right? You all had a long day, probably at work, at home, getting everything done before you can come into the session. So let's take a few minutes to set ourselves into a space where we can then have a beautiful conversation. So taking a few minutes to settle ourselves in a space of calm. While being in a space of calm and relaxation, can everyone mute themselves if you are not talking? Thank you. So the idea is to be relaxed, but at the same time also be alert. Relaxation is not to kind of fall asleep or get diverted, but relax is not to let any part of your body pull you into any direction, but just a moment. So let go of any tenseness of the body, any part of your body that is tense, just tense and relax at once. Sit in such a way that your spine, your neck, and your head are aligned. Anytime when we want to learn, we want to pay attention, it's good to have all three aligned because it allows the energy to flow. Take a deep breath. Allow the air to consciously move into your lungs and fill them. Visualize the air moving through the body into the various parts and organs, giving them life, giving them energy. Do it one more time. Just breathe deeply and allow life to move to every part of your body. As the body is relaxed and energized, slowly let me take my attention within. Just observe your thoughts. What is moving in my mind right now? If there is any thought that comes that takes you back into something that has happened during the day or sometime in the past, don't focus on it, just let it be. Just tell yourself it's okay, all is well. If any thought comes that takes you to someone else or something else outside of yourself, just tell yourself it's okay. All is well. Just let it be. Don't struggle with it. Don't focus on it. Just focus on this feeling of feeling well, being well, being okay. Let the state of being well permeate your being. Anything else, just let it be. Om Shanti. Sister Anita gave us a nice introduction to the topic, right? So even when I was reflecting on this topic, I was thinking of the many incidents and anecdotes that are reported during natural disasters and other occurrences in life. And I used to find them extremely interesting. You know, while we all wait to be told that there is a storm coming or there is an earthquake or something like that, seems like animals seem to instinctively know or feel that something is not okay. They don't have anyone telling them what's happening, but they seem to know, they seem to feel it. And these reports usually talk about how these animals become very restless. And again, instinctively, they seem to move to a higher ground if it's flooding or things like that. Or they seem to move away if it is any other kind of disaster. We don't know enough to understand how they do it. But I'm sure many of you have also heard these or similar stories in your own life, right? I've always had this question. How is it? How is it that they seem to feel or know while many of us are pretty clueless? We have no idea what is coming or what is happening. Do any one of you have any thoughts? I mean, if you want to respond or you want to put it in chat, anyone has any thoughts? I was just looking at a few, but if any one of you has any information, I'm ready to listen too. Let me open up chat in case you. Anyone? No? They are more in tune. That is true. They are more in tune with nature. In tune with nature, in tune with the surroundings. I absolutely agree. Someone says, I think they have a very strong sixth sense. Yeah. Their senses, their senses are definitely sharper than those of human beings, right? They hear and feel vibrations far beyond the perception of human senses. Yeah, they are more in tune with themselves and nature. Yeah. But there are also a few other things that came to my mind when I was thinking about this. You see, animals are more in tune. They're literally grounded. They are bare feet on the ground, right? Many of us are not. We are inside houses. We are probably many floors above the ground. But other than that, also, there was another thing that came to my mind, which is that they're not as busy in their lives with so many things as we are. We constantly, yeah, exactly. We constantly are preoccupied with something. We keep ourselves so busy, distracted, which is probably one of the reasons sometimes we really can't stay in tune. And another thing that came to my mind when I was reflecting on this, we have a dependency. We expect that somehow there is a government, an agency, some local authority, someone who's going to tell us and take care of us and do things for us, right? Animals don't have such things. So they kind of, they have to fend for themselves. They may take cues from what other animals are doing, but other than that, they're not expecting that someone is there to take care of them and they don't have to do anything. Just some things that I thought it would be good to share. But here, as you all know, we are not talking about natural calamities. I am not an emergency disaster management executive or anything. I have no idea. Many times I myself need help. Um, Even in the Brahma Kumaris, we have people who are trained, who know about emergency management. So they give us tips in case of disaster. How do you prepare things like that? But that's not what we are going to talk about today, as Sister Anita had initially told us. Many times at the physical level, we don't have to worry about things in our life in terms of safety or security because everything is going normally, it's going well as we expect it to. And then once in a while, there is a time when we worry about someone or something, just an incident here or there, right? But even when this COVID pandemic was going on, we saw this. When there are some people who have already experienced things like that before, who have seen disasters, they kind of seem to know what would be the right course of action, at least an idea of what could be the right course of action. And so they give us we can do. And if it is something in society, there are local authorities and governments that take over and they help you. Like in the pandemic, they were telling us always keep your hands clean, wear masks, social distancing, use sanitizer. We're going to talk about this. We're not necessarily talking about physical things. Sometimes there are physical things that happen in life, like the pandemic, which caused a lot of emotional trauma for many. Sometimes things like that happen. But even otherwise in life, even when there isn't anything big happening, small things in life, they're constantly happening that take me on an emotional roller coaster ride. So today we're going to just reflect more on how do I keep myself emotionally and spiritually on a higher ground? How do I move from where I am to a to take care of others? So, what is this space emotionally where we are not okay? It's mostly a space where I feel very vulnerable, very anxious. I'm sad, worried, fearful. And there are so many people nowadays who keep coming and saying they have these anxiety attacks. They're constantly worried, right? This is a very, very low spiritual or emotional place to be because you're feeling very unsafe. It's very dark. You never know what's going to happen. From this space, how do you get to a higher ground? And when we talk about higher ground, we're talking about a space that's more stable, where I feel a little more secure and I feel safe. Yeah. That means now it can't be that everything in the world is okay, so I feel safe. That's not really a possible thing at the current times. So, when we talk about higher spiritual ground, we are saying whatever is happening in my surroundings, in spite of that, I am going to feel safe and okay because I know I can take care of myself, right? And when we go into this area of emotional and spiritual, many of us are unaware of what is going on deep within us because feelings are quite deep, right? Sometimes we are perfectly all right, and suddenly I have a breakdown, and I don't even have an idea where it came from or why I came that way. How did I react that way? What happened? Because feelings and emotions exist in many, many layers based on things that we have seen in our lives. On most days, if there is a little up and down, I can manage myself. I do a little reflection, maybe rest a little more, talk to someone, I have a friend or something, and I can manage. But then there are other days when I am more vulnerable. And then it doesn't seem to help who I am talking to, what I'm doing. It seems like I am unable to cope. Yeah, every one of us have this kind of experience once in a while, right? It could be due to physical changes in your body, it could be due to changes in the environment around you, whatever. But these are things we feel. Yeah. And these feelings of not being safe, being vulnerable, they're somewhere deeply embedded within us, and we are not even aware they exist. Many times when we come to feelings, we talk about icebergs because no, for iceberg, they say only 20% or 25% of the iceberg is above the water. You can see that. There is a whole lot below. So the Titanic was grounded because they saw the iceberg on top and said, oh, this is small, I can navigate around it. But even when they did, the iceberg that was below, that was not visible, was so much bigger that it grounded the ship, right? Feelings are like that. I see a little outside, I know this is what's happening, but there is so much more inside that we are not aware of. So I don't know when they will get triggered, when they will come out. This makes us kind of a little uncomfortable. So today we are going to explore a little of this. We're going to explore what is happening inside of me. How do I recognize if there is which level I am in terms of my spiritual or emotional um, feelings, and how do I move from there? It's very important for all of us to take ourselves to a place of safety, a place where we feel okay. And this is something no one can do for us. We have to do it ourselves. So we're going to kind of explore a little today. I won't go into too much depth, but I will take you through the basic steps. And then if there are any questions, we can talk about it. And then if you have more questions, you can definitely put them in chat, and Anita Ben will definitely find the answers for you and send them back. So, first question we need to ask ourselves, right? Where exactly am I now? At what level am I? Am I grounded right now? Am I at a very low level or am I at a very high level? How do I know this, right? This is the first thing we need to know, because if we want to work, we need to know where I stand. So I'm going to give you a gauge, right? And the gauge is the highest place that any one of us can be. And this is possible. The highest place we can be is a place where we are constantly peaceful, constantly energetic. That means I don't say, no, I'm not up to it, I can't do this. There is always energy, there's always enthusiasm, and I'm always inspired. This is what is the highest state of a spiritual being. Now we come back and look at ourselves. Any one of us there? Not really, right? We have our peaceful moments, we have our energetic, nice, good, inspired movements, and then we have our other moments. So we go up and down. That means we are not at our highest level. We are somewhere there. If there are moments when you actually feel peace, I would say you're not at the lowest. I've actually heard stories of people who don't know what peace is because they are really struggling with themselves. There's something happening inside. But all of us are definitely not at the highest level where we can feel that way. So we are somewhere in between. Is it really normal that 8 billion of us, right? All of us, we are all in this state. We are peaceless. We're not always happy. We're not always inspired or energetic. But somehow we have come to a point where we say, it's okay, this is how life is. Everyone's life is like that. They also have some unhappiness, they also have some sorrow, they have some tension, and we are okay with it. I think this is the first wrong step in the wrong direction, right? Because many of you have heard about the boiling frog syndrome, right? I'm just going to say it in a few lines, but the boiling frog syndrome is always talked about when in these situations because frogs have an amazing ability to adjust themselves to any situation, their skin, and they're able to adjust very easily. So they say that when you put a frog in a vessel of water and start heating the water from beneath, as the water is slowly getting warmer, the frog basically just adjusts its body temperature according to the water temperature. And it keeps doing this until the water comes close to boiling point. And when it comes close to boiling point, the frog can no longer adjust itself and it wants to jump out. But it's not able to jump out. It tries, but it can't jump out because it has lost all its strength in adjusting with the water temperature until then. So very soon the frog boils. That's the boiling frog syndrome. But when you look at this and you ask yourself, what killed the frog? Our first instinctual answer would be that it's the boiling water that killed the frog, right? But the actual truth is the frog did not decide to jump out in time. It kept making adjustments saying, this is also okay, this is also okay, until it is no longer able to jump out. So we also have to look at our life and say, okay, I'm a little energetic, I get depressed some days, I'm sad sometimes, and it's not okay. That is not how life is supposed to be for any one of us. And we need to recognize this before it is too late. That I can't jump out, right? So I need to recognize this is not okay. As a spiritual being, I have this ability. This is my original capacity that I can always be full of energy and inspiration and joy. So I have to first recognize and acknowledge that there is something going on within me that is not okay. That's the first step. If I want to move to higher ground, I have to recognize where I am. And I have to recognize that there is something within me that's not okay. What is it that is not okay? That's the next question, right? I know, okay, I realize I'm not 100% energetic all the time. There's something not okay. What is it that's not okay? Right? I have to find that. And how I do that is at there are a lot of things inside of us and they have to come out one by one. I can't get everything out and finish all of them. Like when you want to move to higher ground, how do you do that? No, one step at a time, one step at a time until you reach where you're completely safe. In the same way, Even from within you, you have to recognize one by one what are the things that are causing disturbance or sorrow or pain within you. How do I do that, right? Anything, the easiest way to know. Did anyone want to say anything? Okay. So, if anything in my mind or heart comes repeatedly and it causes any disturbance or sorrow, I know that is the problem. If a person comes constantly in my mind, or if a situation comes constantly in my mind, there is something there that I need to resolve and I need to understand this. And that's exactly like with your physical health. For example, if you keep getting fever, right, over and over again, every day, let's say you get fever for 3 days, what's the first doubt that comes in your mind? Right? If you get one day and it's gone, it's okay. It's maybe just something. But when it comes repeatedly, you know it is showing you that there is some underlying condition that needs to be addressed. There's some other problem we need to find out and address, right? In the same way, when a feeling of sorrow or pain or disturbance comes again and again into your mind,
I
and
saw your homework. You did pretty good, Sarah.
Please, everyone, keep your mics muted. It disturbs the flow of the thought. Sorry, Sandhya.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to give them. I don't know if they're trying to ask or say something, so I just kind of pause. Anyway,
No, they are actually having a conversation with the family members. So they're not realizing that the mic is open. Sorry about it.
so when something comes repeatedly, you know it means there is an underlying condition that needs to be addressed. And it's the same thing with the spiritual. Something repeatedly comes back to you and disturbs your state of mind, you know it needs something that needs to be addressed down there inside the self, right? And how do I know what that is? Let's do a simple exercise for a minute, right? Stay with me here. Because the only way I will know what is causing me this problem, what is causing me this sorrow, is I have to tune into myself. Like the animals tune into nature, so they know what disturbance is coming, right? If there is a disturbance inside of me, I have to tune into myself. So, how do I do that, right? The first thing that we all have to remember, first and foremost, don't be so busy in your life that you don't have time for yourself. If you have a little time, okay, I listen to a movie, I listen to music, I'll go to a movie, or I'll take care of this. Don't. Sometimes in your day, in the morning and evening, take little time to be by yourself. And again, be by yourself doesn't mean be with your phone. That's not that's not really tuning into myself. Leave all your gadgets. Sit with yourself just for a few minutes and try to be silent. Try to relax. And you can do it right now with me. Let's do this. And I just tell myself, I'm a peaceful being. I am a peaceful being. As you are saying this to yourself, many people think, oh, in meditation, they keep saying, I am peace. Yes, we do. In a way, we try that. But the reason for that is when you are saying this and trying to be peaceful, if something else comes up, you can very easily recognize it. At other times, when you keep yourself busy, you can't recognize what is coming up, what is disturbing you, what's happening. But when you try to stay silent and peaceful, and at that time this thought comes or this feeling comes, I can immediately recognize. And when they come repeatedly, If I try for 5 minutes and they come back like 10 times, I know there is something to be addressed there. And I need to recognize and acknowledge whatever that is that's coming into my mind. There is a little issue there that needs to be handled. There's a disturbance there. So it's like the animals feel the vibration of the earth or something. You're feeling the vibration inside. Something is not okay, right? This is the second step. You need to recognize what is that disturbance inside. Now, the next step that I have to ask myself, and a very important one, is how did I get here? How did I get to this place where this disturbance is within me? Many times, if we ask anyone, what is this disturbance that is inside of you? They will say, oh, this person did that, that person said this. There are 100 people and 100 things in the world that disturb us. The government disturbs us, the president disturbs us, I don't know, whoever, but there's always someone, right? But the most important thing, if you want to go on spiritual high ground, you need to realize that nothing in the world can you change. You cannot change the government, you cannot change the president, you can't change your family, friends, you can't change anyone. Have any one of you tried? Have you been able to change anyone? At least I know for myself, I have not been able to change anyone. Anita, when you're on mute, did you say something?
I said we do it all the time. That's what takes us down the spiral. We try to change things so we can be peaceful, and it never works.
Yeah. So this disturbance that has come inside of me, I tend to think someone else did this. And you won't believe this. The next two lines I'm going to say is the most important in your life, in all of our lives, because it is not someone else. If it is someone else who did that, and I keep saying they did this to me, I'm basically saying they have to change for my life to change. Can you imagine what you're doing here? You are giving away all the power of your life into this person's hand. Until they change, nothing in my life can change. This is one of the biggest mistakes we make, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. Another person is never the reason for how I feel. I am the one and only one responsible for how I feel. This is the first thing I have to acknowledge. When I know there is a disturbance, I have to acknowledge whatever disturbance there is in my life, I am the only one who has created it within. I'm the only one who can also remove it. And it may seem like a big responsibility suddenly, right? It is very easy when we say someone else has to change. They haven't changed. That's why my life is like this. It's very simple to say that, but it's also very powerless. But when I say I am responsible for where I am in life, now who is the one who has to make a difference now in my life? I have to do it. Every change I want to see in my life, I have to do it. It seems like a big responsibility, but also on the other hand, it is a very powerful thing, because what you have done by making that statement is you have taken away the power from everyone else and given it to yourself, because I can change my life. I am not dependent on anyone else to change my life. You understand this? So in this moment, you're moving from a very, very vulnerable place where you are subservient to people and things on the outside, where you have given away all your power to your people. My husband is like this, my children are like that, my sisters, my friends, whatever, whoever they are, or government, country, my education. You remove the power from all of that and give it back to yourself. And suddenly now I'm all powerful. I have the ability to change my life. This is the most important thing we need to remember. It's all within me that I have to make the change. All right, let us say we have come till there. Are you all with me? Okay. Now the next step. All right, I've accepted that I have to make the change. Now, when I have to come to myself and I need to change, that's not a simple task, is it? It's not. It's a big thing now. It's good. I know I'm the only one who can do this, but it still doesn't make it any easier. And you know, they have this saying, right? If you do what you always did, you will get what you always got, right? So if I want the experience of my life to change, I have to start shifting my patterns of behavior and thinking. It is very easy to do what we have always done because we exactly know how to do it and we exactly know what will come out of it. Even if it's not the best, we at least know, right? It's a known evil, so it's easier. But when you have to do something different, you don't know. So there is this fear of the unknown. But when you realize that if I continue the same way, I am actually on a downward spiral. And I think this is what Anita was referring to. Now I'm on a downward spiral because I will do exactly what I've always done, but I want the result to be different. That's not happening, right? That's against the law of everything in the world. So if my response continues to be the same, my experience and my feelings will also be the same that I've always experienced. If someone gives me sorrow, they will continue to give sorrow because I behave exactly the same way. So if I need to change that, I am the one who needs to make that change. I will have to make different choices in life. When I make different choices, the result will also be different. Now the question is, do I have choices? Because most of us know only this one way of behaving and thinking and feeling. We don't know there is a choice. Is there another way too? If someone is upset with you, do you also get upset? Yeah, that's the easiest way. I've always done that. There is another way too, right? I can't say they are going through an issue. Let me leave them alone for a while. Let me allow them to come back to normal. I don't have to react. I can just give them a little time. At every moment of our life, there are possibilities that exist. And we have to become aware that possibilities exist. At all times, I have a choice. Even if you say, well, I am in this kind of a relationship, it's very, very difficult. However difficult, there is still choice. You know, I give this example quite a few times. There was an Austrian doctor or a neurologist called Viktor Frankl, who was in the concentration camps during the Second World War. You know how those camps are, right? They were stripped of everything, their property, their families, their clothes, their profession, their dignity. Every last thing they had was taken away from them. But this person, from his experience of that time, he always says, everything can be taken from a man. But still, you always have the choice of the attitude, the choice of your way, what you want to do, how you look at things. That's a choice no one can take away from you, even if they have taken away everything at the physical level. That's very big. None of us are in concentration camps. We don't have to worry about those things. But small things in life that block us, tend to think this is a blockage. I can't do anything. This is the only way. They always get me to this point where I get angry. They get you to the point. You don't have to get angry. You can change the way you think. You can go in a different direction and say, you know what, today I'm going to take it easy. Whatever happens, I'm going to take things easy. Whoever does whatever, it is a choice we have. But I have to try something different if I want a different result. And I'm not telling you that everything different you try will work out and everything will be fine. But when you try, you will at least know. But you will come to know that there is a choice, there is a possibility. Right? I have a choice. I may not know, but I can think, what else? Just knowing that I am the one who needs to change and I always have a choice. I can make a different decision. I can take a different direction. Now, from a space where you are completely under the influence of your circumstances and people around you, you've come halfway high. You've come to a point where you're saying, I have to make this change. No one else needs to do this. And I have a choice. I can make a difference. We've come halfway. Are you with me? Yeah? Now, when you make choices, it's not enough to make choice once and that's it. Everything will change in my life. It doesn't happen like that. These deep traits that we have inside of us, no? We have developed them by repeating the action many, many times. So even when you make a different choice, you want to do this at least 21 times. Like, for example, I love ice cream, right? But I came to know I'm diabetic. If I am sensible, I will know every time ice cream is bought in front of me, I should say no. It's not enough to say no once. You know, the second time, if you take it, you still get yourself exactly where you've gotten yourself. Every time when it comes, I have to say no. This is for my own good. But when I do it a certain number of times, the idea of this different choice that I have becomes powerful. You know, it's now 1.5 years since I was diagnosed as a diabetic, right? I haven't eaten ice cream and I'm okay with it. Now it's not a big deal. It is simple because every time I would say no, everyone would eat right in front of me and I'd watch. I like that they're having a good time enjoying the ice cream, but I don't get tempted. But these are things you have to do. And I would say you should start with at least one thing. You should have at least one win. Make a small change and see. Take the smallest of things and say, can I do this differently? So you start developing that courage that it's possible. Because to actually move up, the first thing that you need is courage. Courage that this is what I should do. If I want to change my life, I have to take this step. Whatever it takes, I have to do this. But you know what helps us in this? It helps us when we know that. What is it that you say never works? Sorry, maybe I'm just too late on the chat. I'm going to leave it aside. So anyway, the first thing is courage. Knowing that others have done it before. That gives us a lot of courage. That gives us a lot of help. Because I'm not the first one. Someone has already shown the path, taken the path. I just have to go with them. Yeah, changing others is not a simple thing. Well, that's one good thing, that to know that someone has done it. But another good thing is when you can do it together with someone. You know, if you can partner with someone, in the B case, we always say that. We love to come together for activities. We love to come together at the center because we are walking a path that is unique. And when you are walking a path like that, it's good to know there are others with you. You can share your experience. You can walk together. It makes it more fun. So it gives you that little support you need to continue to move forward. So any kind of, activity that you do together, anything that you do as a program is very, very helpful when you want to go this path of making a shift, making a change in your life. But while doing it, one of the most important things you must remember is that you have to do it with love. You can't beat yourself up and say, oh, look, it's always like this. Always I end up making mistakes. Oh, it's okay. I am here. I've taken the courage to say I will walk from here. So don't get upset with yourself and don't beat yourself up. Do it with love. Do it in small steps. Take a small thing. Like I told you, ice cream, right? For me, it's a big victory. If I can do that, I can do something else too. And I can do that. I have shifted some of my relationships like that. People who always trigger me, right? I used to always have the same kind of response to them. Then one day I just decided to shift it. I said, you know what? I'm going to allow them the space to be upset. Even if they are, I'm not going to allow that to upset me. I'm going to give them the space to be upset. It helps. Just giving them that space gave me the space to be myself. Then the relationship shifts, because when you change, people are like, excuse me, why is she not upset now? Because they want you to behave the same way they are used to, because that's how relationships work. So when you shift, they start noticing that you're shifting, and they will start to shift with you in no time. So do it in small steps. Do small things where you can get a victory. So when you taste victory, you get the courage to continue. Last but not the least, we need to be patient. It's not going to happen in a second. It's not going to happen in a minute. It's not going to happen in a day. Rome was not built in a day, was it? We can get there. This is how we originally were. We were energetic, inspired beings of joy and peace. This is how we are. We'll get there, but we need to do this gradually. It will take step by step, step by step. So I have to be patient with myself. I can't say, oh, I did all this effort and I can't see any result. That's why do small things where you have victories, but keep doing them until you come to a point where you actually have a victory. And slowly you will see that you got the method now. And it's exactly the same method you have to use over and over again. These steps slowly allow you to go from a place of very low vibration of fear, anxiety, out of control. I don't know how things are going. All these are happening to me. From that space to a space of very high vibration where you know that your life is in your hands. You can do what you want to do with it. And you just have to do it with courage, love, and patience. And it's possible. This is a high ground, while the other one, where you are completely under the control of everything else in nature, is the low ground. And when you reach this high ground, maybe you got the hang of it till now, by now. When you reach this high ground, you know that you don't really need anything from anyone around you. Any situation comes, you need courage. Where will it come from? It comes from inside. You want love? Where does it come from? It comes from inside. You want patience? Where does that come from? It comes from inside. You want inspiration? It comes from inside. So you start feeling that you have everything you need. You don't need the world or other people to give you anything. If they have, it's great. It's nice to see everyone be that way, right? But you don't need them to give it to you. So you come to a place where you stay unaffected. This is what is high ground, right? Everything below is flooded, but I am still safe. So a high ground where I am not influenced, I am not dependent on anything around me. I stay safe. And something really beautiful happens when you are up there and you feel safe. What happens? Anyone who's up there and you see someone down in the ground, what do you want to do? You want to help them up, right? So when I come to that space where I feel safe, I feel secure, I am able to give my hand to another and say, come up. I know how to get to this safe space here. It's possible to help others. Until then, we are not helping anyone, right? We think we are helping each other, but we get upset with them, they get upset with us, and we keep upsetting each other. That is not really helping. It's like we are wallowing in the water. But when I stay up above and safe, I can help the other also get there. Once you get to this high place, right? You get an experience of it. You know what it feels like to really be in such a place. But how do you hold? How do you stay right there? You have to do it regularly. It's not enough to find out one thing and win over it. Anytime something from deep within comes out, I have to face it with courage. I have to handle it with tact and overcome that. Now, that is another step. So, in our methods, we do it every day. Every day morning, every day evening. Spend time with yourself. Tune into your inner self. See what is happening. See what is needed. See what it is that I need to shift little by little, until you come to that space of complete comfort. So I guess that's what I wanted to share with all of you today. We're kind of close to time. If you have any questions, I'm okay to take them. Anita Ben will probably facilitate.
Sister Sandhya, there are no questions in the chat. If they have any questions, they can directly open their mic and ask you. So this is your opportunity to share and ask any questions you have. Okay, there's a question. How do you go to higher ground if you deviate?
Come back. It happens. Sometimes it happens, right? You slip, you trip, you get up and you walk. Do it again. You have to be patient with yourself. And it's part of the journey. Sometimes tripping is okay. Sometimes slipping is okay. Just don't give up. Get up, start again. You remember how you learned to cycle? I always think about that because we were 4 sisters and I was the last one to learn how to cycle. I just couldn't balance myself. Everyone else got it quickly in few days. And at the end of 3 weeks, I'm still trying to balance myself on the cycle. How many times I fell, how many places I got hurt. I just said, what if they all did it? I can do it. My elder sisters did it. My younger sisters did it. It can't be that difficult. I should be able to do it. And I tried again. And then I got there. So yeah, it's possible.
I like to ask question.
Yes, Chandrakant Bhai.
Yeah. It is how come I just curious about how there is a 21 times, everything is like you do. How that figure comes.
Well, that's just something they share in the management courses. But what we are trying to say here is a sanskar, a personality traits become stronger when you keep doing that action over and over again. The only way to make a sanskar weak or a personality trait weak is to stop. Stop putting it into action. So at that time, if you make a different choice and put that to action, every time you're putting into action, you are making that new trait stronger. And there will come a point, anytime that situation comes in front of you, both these choices are available to you because you've used both of them. And then you have the ability to choose one over the other. Yeah. So I don't go with the 21. It's not a magic number, but that's what they say in the management courses. But repetitively doing something gives you the power to make that choice over and over again. You know, when someone smokes, they say, what is the easiest way to stop? Stop putting the cigarette to your mouth, right? But
Right.
that's the most difficult thing to do. But that's all you need to do. Actually, stop putting the cigarette to your mouth. And the longer you're able to do it, then the stronger the possibility that you can stay without it.
I tried to give up the sweet, but I tried. And I did it, myself. Anything sweet, no.
Yeah, it's important for diabetics. It's
Yeah,
life.
yeah, that's very. Yeah, actually, I did it because I want to say to my spouse to stop driving because she is very diabetic, heavy diabetic,
Yeah,
and if I eat, no, she's going to eat.
yeah,
So I went to some of my friend place and they offered me sweet anything. Yeah, I am not going to eat the sweet.
yeah.
So that is an I follow things. No, she didn't eat the sugar. She didn't eat the sweet. So I realized from that day I have to stop it. Then I can say something, or
Yeah.
then she will follow me.
You are actually answering one of the questions that is on chat. How do you help another person, right? This is how you help another person, by setting the example. If they are resistant to change and they don't want to do it, you can't make them do it. But you can inspire them to do it by showing them that it's possible. You know, sometimes we just lack the courage, right? We lack the strength to do it. So when once someone shows us that this is possible, then you're able to do it. So that's how you help another. There isn't any other way. Set the example, inspire them, give them strength that it is possible and it may work. All right. Anita Ben, what do you want to do?
Um, I know we are over the time. If you want to have a meditation just for a minute or two,
Yeah,
and then we can close.
sure. So let's do exactly like we did in the beginning. Take a moment. You know, just like we start with meditation, it's important to end with the same kind of silence and meditation because it allows you to grasp and retain what you have listened to. So consciously take a few moments to settle in a space of calm. Sit relaxed but alert. Take a deep breath. Let the oxygen in the air flow to the brain. Allowing me to process the information that I have heard. As you are breathing in, you are allowing the information, the knowledge you've heard to sink deep within yourself. Just observe yourself. anything that comes outside of the class that we did, any other thought that pulls you, dinner time, other tasks, just tell them I'll be with you momentarily. For now, it's okay. Let me just finish this. Any other thought of any other situation or people come, just tell yourself, I will take care, I will handle it. But for now, it's okay. All is well. Let me just stay for a moment and allow these thoughts to reflect on what I have heard. How can I use it in my life? Where would I put it to practice? Where can I start this shift? Let me make a plan for myself. Let me start with tonight. Before going to bed, I will take a few moments for myself. Just stay with me. Stay with peace and see what else comes up within me. Stay silent. And get to know myself. Tune into my vibration. What is happening inside me? Am I feeling okay? Is there anything that disturbs me? Can I do anything about it? Can I change the way I deal with it? Can I make a different choice? As I become aware, I also become powerful. I know I can do this. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Santi.
Thank you, Sandhya. Wonderful, wonderful talk. Uh, so we'll wait for you to come again. I know. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
To all